Welcome everybody to today's video. Today we're going to talk about pumping and dumping. Now, if you are someone who exclusively pumps or whether you just pump on occasion, it is important to understand what some of the reasons are that you would pump and dump, and then to understand that there is sometimes when you would pump your milk that you would not want to give your baby that milk, or that the milk would not be good or safe for your baby. So I thought today we would talk about what some of those are and kind of like just talk about why you might need to pump and dump. So there's just a few things here, and I'm looking at an article which I will put in the description. So one of the first reasons that you would pump and dump is the most obvious, and that would be due to alcohol. So if you are somebody who you decided you wanted to go out for just a very small drink, maybe it'd be half a glass of wine or whatever, in that case, you would want to breastfeed as soon, as close to that, before that drink as possible, and then allow at least a couple of hours before you would breastfeed. Now, you would not need to dump that milk. But if you were to go out and you were to spend an entire night drinking, then you would then want to pump and dump for your first few feeds. There are alcohol strips that you can purchase, and to see how much alcohol, if it's safe to begin feeding your baby. But usually the first few feedings, you would want to pump and dump. I would definitely do more research for yourself if you know you are going to be going out and having multiple drinks, just understanding exactly how much or how many times you need to pump and dump. It would also depend on how often you feed and that kind of thing. So definitely do some more research and just to get a clear indication of whether or not it's safe to pump and dump. Now, because everybody's body is different in how it breaks down the alcohol, usually if you wait 2 hours per drink, that kind of gives you somewhat of a clue. But again, like I said, everybody's different in how they their body breaks it down. Sometimes it can be very quickly, some it's a little bit longer. So usually about 2 hours after each drink would be safe. That's why if you say like right after you breastfeed, you take a drink, or you have your drink, then by the time you feed again, it would be clear from your system. So just kind of thinking of it like that, 2 hours after your drink. But of course, if you are going out and drinking a ton, you would then need to pump and dump. Another time that you would need to pump and dump is recreational drugs. So if you're taking any type of drug on a regular basis, of course we would recommend that you do not do this while you're pregnant or breastfeeding, and that you should not breastfeed your baby if you are regularly taking drugs. Now, if you are taking it on rare occasion, then you would then want to pump and dump until it's completely out of your system. So just to repeat that, if you are taking any type of recreational drug on a regular basis, it's better for you not to breastfeed. It's safer that way. But if it is on very rare occasion, then you should pump and dump until that drug is completely out of your system. Another time that you would want to pump and dump is if you are in an unsanitary area. So if you're not in a clean environment and you have to pump, maybe it's to relieve engorgement. So maybe you're in an area where you feel that your breast milk could be contaminated, you would then just want to dump that milk. So sometimes it could be like a gas station bathroom, and maybe you're just pumping to relieve engorgement. In an area like that, when you can't really be sure of contamination, it's best to just pump and dump that milk. Another one is if you're having a thyroid scan, you would want to find out how long after you have that done that it's safe for you to breastfeed. And so during that time period, you would want to pump and dump. Another time that you might pump and dump would be when you're on certain types of medications. Usually if the medications are temporary, if you're only going to be on them for a short period of time, you could just pump and dump during that time period. But if you know you're going to be on it for a long extended time, or maybe it's something that they want to permanently put you on, you would then, first of all, get some opinions, check and find out if there's any alternative drugs that are safer that you can take during that time period. But if not, you would probably then have to wean your child. But if it's just for, say, 2 weeks, maybe it's just for a month, you could then pump and dump for that time period and be able to get the baby back to the breast after. So there are certain medications that are unsafe for you to breastfeed with, so certain strong antibiotics. But again, you can always check for any alternative medications, talk with the IBCLC and see what is out there that could be safe to take as an alternative. But if not, again, you would pump and dump. Another one is if you've had improper milk storage. So if you were not able to store that milk in the proper place or for the right amount of time, typically breast milk can sit out for 4 to 8 hours. 4 to 8 hours, not 48 hours, 4 to 8 hours at room temperature. But if you're in an extremely hot place, again, that would vary. So you would go on the shorter end, which would be more like 4 hours. So if your milk has been sitting out for longer than that time period, you would then want to dump that milk, just because we wouldn't want to take any chances of, the baby getting sick from that. Another thing would be questionable foods. So if typically there's nothing that you can't eat when you're breastfeeding, but there are some foods that can cause sensitivities and things like caffeine, but we're talking excessive amount where you might pump and dump. But it would really depend on the exposure and your child's reaction to it, and again, how much of it that you've taken. Very rarely will that be a case where you're, it has to do with a questionable food. But there could be a few things in which you would want to pump and dump. A lot of people might say with caffeine you would want to pump and dump, but it just really depends on you and how well your baby reacts to it, and then of course how much caffeine you've actually drank. So those are some reasons that you may pump and dump. If you have any that you would like to add to that, just put that in the comments below. I hope that this helps any of you that have any questions about that. I just thought it would be a good video to put out for questions on pumping and dumping. One thing I will make mention is whenever you're pumping and dumping, you would want to pump how often the baby feeds. So say you're pumping and dumping and you're on a strong antibiotic and you have to keep your milk supply up. That's always the ultimate purpose, is to keep your supply from being affected. So if you have to pump and dump for more than say an hour or two, so 24 hours or more, you would want to pump however often the baby feeds. So if the baby feeds every 2 to 3 hours, that's how often you would want to pump. So kind of following the same pattern that your baby feeds, that's how you would want to pump. If you have any other questions about pumping and dumping, please leave that in the comments below, and I will try to answer any questions you might have regarding that. And again, I will put some information in the description below so that you can also go and do your research as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. By the way, I just wanted to say thank you for helping me hit the 500 subscribers. I will be doing a giveaway. I'm still working on it. I want to get everything put together, you know, and make it perfect. So I will have more information out about that and how you can enter that giveaway. So thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye now.